Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Otter Chaos podcast with me, Krissie, the Welsh Wonder Woman Kirby. I am your humble host, and we are going to be going through talking with various people across the course of a number of months, all to do with stuff going on in the creative industry. I am very lucky that the person I am speaking to today, I have worked with, performed on stage with, classes family, and is possibly the hardest working bassist I have ever met. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the fabulous Miss Becky Baldwin. Hello. Hello. Thank you so much for coming on this randomness that is my new podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is great. I've been very much looking forward to it.
I know, it's just like we've been talking about this for weeks and weeks and weeks. So finally we're doing it. Yes. So I have already forewarned you, but I'll say it again for prosperity. I have nothing planned. This is off the cuff. There was one thing I was going to say was planned. Oh yeah, I can't remember what it was now.
One thing was planned. You were going to tell me what the plan
I know,
is.
and now I've completely forgotten what the fuck it was. Welcome. It's what the name says on the tin. The Otter Chaos podcast. Really start as we mean to go on. So, for those who have, and if you've been hiding under a rock, seriously, for those who don't know who Becky Baldwin is, please introduce yourself. A little history.
A little background. So I'm Becky Baldwin, and I currently living in Birmingham in the UK, but I've lived in like Bristol and deepest, darkest Wiltshire for before that. I am a bass player, as you might see from the things behind me, those objects. And yes, I play in Fury. They are a heavy metal band based in Birmingham. And also Merciful Fate, who were based in Denmark and are now kind of scattered all over like Scandinavia, America, and the UK now that I'm part of it. But yeah, they are kind of a legendary metal band that were, had their biggest albums in like 83 and 85. Had a kind of a long break for a few years, came back in the 90s, and then had an even longer break. And yeah, they have returned, and now I'm also part of it.
I know. I'm so proud. I'm still beaming for that news for you. You've worked so damn hard. It's just awesome. So yes, your move to Bristol was for education, wasn't it? You went to
So I
university in Bristol.
BIM Bristol.
BIM, love
BIM.
it.
Yeah,
Bristol Institute of Music. Yeah,
something like that. I think it's called the British Institute or something. I don't know. There's loads of British Institute of Music, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I met. So I met you when I was living in Bristol because that was close-ish, I guess, to where our band Triaxis were.
Well, I mean, CJ and Giles were kind of the people in the middle because they were Cardiff, Caerphilly way. Then you had Glyn over in Newport, yourself in Bristol, and me in Port Talbot. So close-ish. M4 corridor. I have something about bands along the M4 corridor. What is it? I don't know what it is. Me and bands along the M4 corridor.
Trying to move you further east, and you're just like, no, I'm staying out.
So every time Gemma asks me when I'm moving to Birmingham, I said, well, as soon as they put a C close enough. The way global warming's going, that's not going to be that long.
No.
Yeah. So you co-founded Bristol Rock School. Were you still in BIM when you co-founded that? Because I've never asked you that before, actually.
Yes. So I was still, I think I was in my second year. That was when, so another student who we both took the first year together finished after 1 year, and he started his it was called Bristol Rock Guitar at the time.
Yeah,
and he started teaching under that like name. And then we kept being asked about other instruments. Like, do you know bass teacher? Do you know drum teacher, singing teacher? And he's like, yeah, I do know them, but like, I teach guitar, and like, and he was like,
Is that rich?
he's like, yeah, Richard was like, well, yeah, I do know these people, and he's like, well, maybe I could grow something that's bigger than just this. My name is Rich, and I teach guitar out of my garage. I could actually build some kind of community, and you know, of course, also help these people like learn, and you know, give some of my peers a job, and also, yeah, make it more of a business, more of a secure thing for everyone. So that was when I got involved, started teaching bass there. And then we decided we wanted to expand even more. So when we got a premises, we renamed to Bristol Rock Centre. So we still focus just really on playing, teaching rock and pop style, really. But we could then offer drums and rehearsals and stuff at the new premises.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, tiny rehearsal room, I remember.
Yeah,
it was lovely though.
Yeah, they were more for teaching rather than
rehearsing.
It used to be like a doctor's surgery or something. When we first got the place, it looked completely different, and it was very, I don't know, it's kind of creepy. Like, you know, like any medical facility that's been abandoned for a few years. It's really like,
wait for a nurse from Silent Hill to jump out at you or something.
Yeah, you could just kind of picture the people that have been through these places, you know, not having a very good time there, and you're like, well, let's brighten this place up. Quick, get the neon orange and put some posters up or something.
Oh, the rainbow or starburst kind of wall that you had when you walk in through the front door along that open where you had the glass frontage. That was incredible. I loved that. It was gorgeous. So psychedelic, so very rich.
Yeah. We got to graffiti this huge psychedelic space thing on the front of the building.
Awesome.
It looked very different, and I think some of the neighbors were like, what the hell is going on here? What's happened to the building? This exploded in color and like loud music. And then I'm around outside now, and
and people turning up at 3 o'clock in the morning to drop kit off. Yeah.
And me like piling in all these air beds for like the whole band to like sleep on the floor in the rehearsal room.
Oh, those were the days. Yeah. So as you said earlier, we were in Triaxis together, and had quite a few fun times on tour. I was reminded the other day of a dream you had where you woke up in the travel lodge and asked if there were baked bean dispensers in the bathroom.
Oh man, it was such a vivid dream. And I was sure there was baked beans.
It was hilarious. That was so funny where you just sat bolt upright in bed and went, there isn't a baked bean dispenser in our bathroom. You could just see CJ just looking, going, did I just hear it right? Oh, it was good. That's funny. But you're obviously going to have an awful lot of stories from being on tour with all your previous bands, including Hands Off Gretel, Controlled Storm, I Destroy. When I said in the introduction, you're possibly the hardest working bassist I've ever met. That's no lie. You are the single most hardest working bassist I've ever met, and I've met a lot. So it's incredible. So I'm wondering, have you got any stories from all your tours that you could tell without any comeback on yourself?
Oh God, I don't know. Is anything in the top baked bean dispenser? I don't know. Trying to think. I don't know. We've been to some weird. I'll tell you what. Okay, right. If I can remember this right,
Okay.
I'll give this one a go. But I think I drank a lot on this evening. But
really, you know.
But like I hear it again, like we kind of talk about it with my old band called Dorja, they're still going. That was one of them. So it's like 5 girls. And do we have any crew with us? I don't know if we did. I think it might have just been the 5 of us girls. And we played in somewhere in Scotland, I think Fife in Scotland. And we were heading back down. So we played like in the afternoon, but we needed to stay somewhere like halfway to our way south or something. So we stayed in Newcastle under Lyme, I think.
Just outside Stoke. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so we stayed in this hotel, and everything was just like super weird as soon as we got there. And so there was this lady, like this young, I think she must have been like her probably late teens or something, working on the reception. And she seemed to be there with like a partner or something, and the partner seemed like really drunk and kept saying like really weird things when we're trying to like check in. And then he'd be like, all right, who are you? Who are these people? And we're just like, we're just trying to check in, we've just driven like 6 hours. And she kept trying to make him shut up, and like I don't know, he wouldn't. So we were like, okay, this is weird. But then whatever, we just get our keys and we start walking towards our rooms, and then like we turn a corner and we can see just like 2 feet sticking out behind the corner, like someone is lying down in the corridor. And we're like, should we keep going? Because it was looking kind of spooky. It was like Shining vibe. And we just see this person's legs on the floor. We're like, well, come on, we're going. We're all together. Let's just go find our room. Hopefully it's further away from this person who's lying on the floor. And yeah, the guy was just kind of passed out, well, just lying there, like facing up. And as we kind of stepped over him, he was like, don't mind me. We were like, okay.
All right, Eel. Don't mind me.
We didn't really know what to do. Like, should we report this? Like, are there cameras here? Does the receptionist know? I think someone went to go and speak to her, but she was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. The people of reception. Yeah, and we just kind of but I think that was the end of the weirdness. Maybe there was some weird sounds. I slept all the way through it. As soon as I got into my bed, I was gone. But yeah, that was one of the weird ones from the road.
Talking of Doja, I saw when you went over to Nam earlier this year, you caught up with Aim.
Yes.
How's she doing?
Oh, she's great. Yeah, she's living in a new place now in Hollywood, and it's a really nice apartment. I last visited her there in 2020, just before the lockdown hit, because I went to Nam that year as well. And yeah, she's got loads of work on. She's working really hard, and it seems like she might be trying to come back to the UK for a while. So she's always been the kind of person who's a few weeks here, a few months there, and like between LA, London, and Kazakhstan. And I don't know, every time I look through her Instagram, the location is just like, what are you doing there? Okay. But yeah, it seems like she's had her fill of LA for a little while, and is like keeping her eye on London. So that would be great. It'd be lovely to see her some more, because I don't know, we got on really well, and she's just a lovely lady.
Yeah, she comes across as a genuine sweetheart.
Yeah, she's great. But the place she lives is just so exciting. Like, she's on this high street where she's like, oh yeah, the other day I saw like Tom Cruise here, and I'm like, what? No way.
Okay.
I'm like, cool, you really want to live here? Like, it sounds really an exciting place to live, but I think it's also a very stressful place to live.
I'll happily, rent out her apartment for a couple of weeks if she needs a house sitter. Just saying. I may end up most of my days in Burbank stalking a certain D&D playing bunch of voice actors, but there we go. But yeah, no, cool. So let us cast our minds back to 2022, the summer of hell, where we almost all burned to a crisp, other than a round of applause, please, for Matthew Chambers for providing the tarp for Camp Civil to keep everybody out of the sun. My goodness, I couldn't believe it. The temperature at the front of the main stage hit something ridiculous like 37 degrees.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's just bonkers. It was so hot.
I was very
Jeez.
impressed. You like saw, I don't know how many bands did you see? It seemed like you were kind of up and about quite a lot, and I was like, I cannot leave this chair.
Because I had a big hat.
Oh yeah.
But I remember being sat in VIP and Sophie coming in, looking frazzled, trying to find you, and then you disappearing, and us all sitting there going, what the fuck is going on? What's going on? And then being in VIP and having Charlotte Godfrey, who was our publicist for Triaxis, messaging me going, don't fucking tell me Becky's playing with Merciful Fate. If Becky's going to play with Merciful Fate, I'm going to lose my shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And it wasn't until I got hold.
What time of day was it when she messaged you? Was it like?
It was when you were up on the stage being asked about. Yeah, it was when you were up on the stage, or the sign had come up. Becky Baldwin, please come to the stage. That's when she messaged me, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Because I was still sat in VIP at this point with Phil and Jules, and so we kind of popped back out just as we heard Merciful Fate starting, and I couldn't find you. I was like, because you were backstage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've heard this story many a time, and I was there the next morning when I came bounding into Camp Civil to find you, to just throw myself at you going, oh my God! But please, for those who are tuning in, please do tell us what that was like and what happened next.
So yes, we were sat in VIP, and yes, Sophie from Painkiller Clothing came over, said, you have to meet Livia, like, will you come with me? And I'm like, who's Livia? Like, I don't know who that is, but I'm happy to meet anyone, whoever. Okay, cool.
Who I know because of her voice acting side of things.
Yes. But like, where I was going, like, your guess was as good as mine. I had no idea what was going on at that point. And then, I realized I was being taken towards backstage of Bloodstock, the main stage. And that was the day Merciful Fate were playing. And I was like, oh, hello, what's going on here? Like, this could be quite interesting because, like, yeah, I've not really been in that part of the backstage area before. Actually, maybe I have, like, they have like little like booths where they can show off little gear and stuff. And so I've snuck through in there before, and it's been like, wow, this is cool. There's Floor Jansen, like, getting her pre-show massage. Cool.
She's an absolute goddess. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And but yeah, so like, yeah, I'm kind of moving into backstage, and I'm like, okay, it was still quite a few hours before Merciful Fate were going to be on stage, so I didn't really know. There's a bunch of bands on before, so I didn't really know what was going on there. It could be anything. But yeah, someone did come up to me and said, oh, yeah, do you know why you're here? And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, you've been requested to come and meet Merciful Fate. And I'm like, no, like, why? I mean, that's cool, like, great. And then I'm kind of waiting around a bit more, very kind of anxious and excited. The whole day had been a bit of a just flurry of excitement and ups and downs. Lots of drinks had been consumed that afternoon.
No, really?
Yeah. So I wasn't really, didn't really feel like in the mindset to like be meeting people that I wasn't expecting to be meeting. But yeah, eventually, after waiting around a little while, someone did say like, oh, you're going to meet them soon. Do you know why you've been asked to come here? And I'm like, no, only you've just said like to meet them. And they said, oh, they need to ask you about a tour. And I'm like, a tour? Like, okay, what am I doing? Am I doing merch? Do you need a support band? Do you need, do you need, I don't know, extras? I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, by the time they kind of filter me through, and I'm stood in front of King Diamond, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like kind of scary. Because he's already in like full like makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
and you know, it's quite, when you like meet someone and they're in that kind of thing, it's hard to like really know their expressions. You're just like, thinking, how is this person receiving everything? But yeah, he was just like, yes, so we need yes, we are looking at October and November for a tour. And I'm like, yeah, so what's going on? Like, what do you need me for? And he's like, oh, we need a bass player. I'm like, really? Okay. Well,
like, no shit. What?
It was like, we want you to do it. Like, we think you'd be great for it. We've seen some of your videos. We've looked at your website. You know, we thought like maybe you'd be interested. And, you know, we asked Jason Newsted a couple of weeks ago, and you know, he wanted to focus on his own stuff. So we thought, let's ask you next. And I was like, that's a weird sentence, right there. Can you say that again?
It's like Becky Baldwin and Jason Newsted in the same sentence.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, are you going through your mind going, cool, cool, cool? Is that what's going through your mind at that point?
Yeah. It was just like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, be cool. Don't freak out. Just take it
really deep.
Whereas
really deep down, you're going, oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah, and I kind of didn't want to believe it. Like, I was like, don't allow yourself to get excited about this. Like, this could be some like weird, like really cruel joke or something that you know, ends up, or something that just, you know, doesn't end up working out because, you know, visas are complicated, everything's complicated. Maybe they don't realize that you are a nobody and like you've never done this kind of touring before and you're probably going to suck at it. So they, you know, they might realize that in the next like 30 seconds and everything will be
you
over.
are far from a nobody, miss. You know, you're only, you know, you are the bass queen of the UK. I'm just putting that out there. But yeah, no, you're far from a nobody. I mean, you have been an absolute example of how to use social media at its best. The engagement that you have on there with your fans, with fellow musicians, you show the better side of social media.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Like I have a bit of a love and hate relationship with social media. Like,
yeah, don't we all?
Yeah, it's just, you know, constant struggle. I know that it's so important, and you know, this Merciful Fate thing proved that because that's how they discovered me. That's how they came. That's how I ended up getting that job. Really, like otherwise they just wouldn't have known me. Like we live very far away from each other. Our paths probably would never have crossed otherwise, you know, not, or maybe not for like years. So I don't know, it's something that can help to equalize things. Social media, like you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of contacts or anything to start, you know, reach. And you know, I don't know, you never know how the algorithm's going to work, like if it's going to be in your favor or not. But yeah, like it can be really good if you're kind of starting with nobody knows who you are, and you know, you've got nothing to lose, and you just try and like figure out what works for you and your branding and the kind of music you play or whatever. So yeah, that's the thing that I know I need to do more of it, and you know, keep on with that. But I don't know, it's also the more I spend time on social media, the more I feel unproductive, and I feel like not just unproductive while I'm doing it, but it makes me less productive for the rest of the day. I feel more negative about myself. I feel more negative about the music industry as a whole sometimes. But I don't know if it's just like maybe I'm not following the right pages for me. I need to like start following more positive things that make me feel good, or
do a mental health social media cleanse.
Yes.
I did that recently. Oh, it's so liberating.
Yeah You're like, actually, does this spark joy? Like these people that I don't know, you follow them and you're like, oh, that's really inspiring. But I don't know, maybe you feel inspired sometimes when you see their content, and then sometimes you just feel like, I'll never be able to do those things. I don't have, I don't know how I could even start to achieve what they're doing, and you just don't. I don't know. Maybe that's why every time like a new one of the reasons why every time a new platform comes along and you start
Yeah.
following a few people, it's really great at the start because you're just following the couple of people that you love right at that moment.
Yeah.
But when you go back to the older ones, you see things that you're like, actually, that I still want to follow them, but they're
Yeah.
not exactly bringing me like the obsessive joy that I'm getting from TikTok at the moment.
Yeah. It's like, for me, it's Twitter and Threads. Twitter has become a cesspool of hypocrisy of the highest order, to the point where it's still really needed for Twitch streamers. We still use it a lot for Twitch. And I look at it and I'm just like, oh my God, are these people for real? Do they not know what there are other things outside this little box? And then I
Yeah.
look at Threads and it's the most wholesome thing I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God, this is where all the socialists are hiding. Hi.
And yeah, like, but there's something that's still like holding you back to those older those older platforms that maybe aren't making you happy anymore, but you feel obliged that you have to stay and you have to keep working in it there, even though you've started to realize they're not your people or something like this.
And
so, yeah
I mean, we both know this, the metal scene in the UK has changed a lot from when social media was first brought in as our big advertising platform. So the Twitterati, as we called ourselves back in the day, the UK metal underground scene people that were on a forum together, and then we all ended up on Twitter. I now found a way of curating my feed, so I only still see them.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But yeah, I know, like myself, you have a love-hate relationship with social media, and I know as well that you have had your issues with social media in the past, and it's something that I'm keen on asking all the femme presenting people that I'm having on the podcast is, how do you deal with being a woman on the internet or a femme presenting person on the internet? How do you deal with that?
I think I don't know. Sometimes not very well. Not very. Yeah, like especially when there it feels like there is like targeted hate, and I am a bit of a sucker for it. Like a lot of people say, yeah, why don't you just block those people? Why don't you just make it so you don't see their posts anymore? And I'm like, to me, I'd rather see them and know that they're there than know that people are saying these things, but I just can't see it. And I don't know. I don't want to be oblivious to anything, any kind of opinions that people might think of me, even though at the moment they're just on social media, they're just out in the ether, some keyboard warrior somewhere. But I prefer to know where it's coming from, and I don't know that. Yeah, like if I could know what this person looks like, if they try and approach me in real life, I'll know not to speak to them, because that's the thing. People who are very critical of you will still try and speak to you, like they've never said anything. So weird. So, but yeah, and I think they think that women will, I don't know, that will just accept compliments when they're given, despite what they might have said about us in the past. Like, if they suddenly treat you nicely, that will just like suck it up and just be like, oh, great, thank you. I feel like we're kind of conditioned to do that. We've been kind of socialized to just appreciate any kindness that or positivity about our looks or whatever. And just take it sweetly and just say, oh no, or be modest and blah blah blah. And I'm starting to get to a point where I'm just like, yeah, okay, right. Like I don't know, unless if it feels like a real genuine and like I don't know, well thought out and positive comment, I don't feel like I need to entertain it as much anymore, I suppose.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think that's I think that's a sign of getting older, mate.
Yeah, I feel like
I am teasing.
I don't feel like I owe people as much of me as I did before. Like I used to feel like I had to, respond to everyone and try and be friends with everyone. And if someone is a fan, then you give them everything. But like it's got to a point where I just can't do that. I just don't have time, and it's exhausting, and I'm not very good at meeting people anyway. I'm not very good at meeting strangers and meeting a lot of people. So like, why should I exhaust myself trying to maintain a lot of friendships that are very superficial? It's because they're not people that are really gonna, I don't know. I don't want to say like they're not going to care about you in the long term, but they're not going to be there in the way that like I need.
It's a badge of honor for them.
More
than anything. Yeah,
they're seeking
I know what you mean.
Some kind of like, I got to speak to this person, that's great. And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, that's good, I'm glad you're happy. But I don't like small talk. I'm just like, get rid of all of that small talk. I want to know what's really going on in your head. And that's
yes.
Sorry.
No, go on.
It's just not the kind of dynamic of fan and like musician, and that's not the kind of friendship you're supposed to have.
No, there are boundaries. There are serious boundaries. Yeah. Oh, yes. The entitlement. Yes. We could talk. We could talk about that. For I think that's a whole other podcast that we need to do, is talk about the entitlement of a lot of male fans towards female musicians.
Yeah. And it's like so the other day I just did this I post on Instagram, like, ask me anything, I'll do some little like responses to people, and it's good for interaction, it's good for the fan. I'm like, yeah, I'll just do that. It's been a while since I last did that. And someone asked me, someone who's been following me for quite a long time and frequently comments like really bitchy things. He said, how does it feel knowing that 80% of your success is your looks? And I'm like, dude, that is a really bitchy question. But I responded, and I was just like, I mean, you're trying to like get a reaction out of me, but if you think that I can get to the kind of success that I have had, which has been quite a lot lately, if you think that's all looks, you must think that I am some kind of like beautiful goddess like person, because like how could you get to these kinds of places on looks? Like it's, and what band would honestly hold that as more important than musical talent? And
you're not in a pop band, for example.
Exactly. Like this isn't the realm for that. It's not and even if, okay, let's say that's what happened, I'm here and I'm being successful and I've got all the things I wanted to, like, I've ever wanted to do. So how does that feel? Like, okay, it still feels pretty good. Like, how does it feel that you're like failing, being a total bitch, and like so total pussy? Like, you've not even got any of your own like music videos on your page. You've got like you're not even trying. And and you're completely responsible for your own failure. Like, how does that feel, dude? That must feel really bad.
And no matter how much you really want to say that, all of that to people, you can't on social media, because the backlash is just not worth the hassle.
Yeah.
And that's the double-edged sword of it. Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, I posted in a story, which is going to disappear. So, and I'm a sucker for like writing responses and then just putting it on my close friends on Instagram. So like, this is what I do.
I see them.
I'm kind of a pussy.
I'm like, oh, the little green box has arrived. What's Becky bitching about now? No, I never think that.
But this has really got to me. God damn it.
I love the close friends function on Instagram, but there are times, aren't there? There are times where you just need to write it down, get it out, and put it into the void and say, this person's being a dick, and I don't want to deal with them on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like, that kind of thing shared with someone, like just a couple of friends, and you can just both be like, wow, what an asshole. It just feels better just to not have to deal with it on your own,
I think it's the modern version of going to the pub for a pint.
Yeah. It sounds a bit sad, really.
Only we're not going to the pub for the pint. We're sitting in a comfortable chair in our house, lovely toasty, warm in our PJs. Right. So, as I said, this is a totally fly by the seat of the pants interview. Sorry, dear viewers, but yes, I didn't prep anything for this one. I've prepped for 3 others. I haven't prepped for this one because I was like, it's Becky. We'll just talk her to bollocks for like 40 minutes or so. And look, it's been great.
Yeah.
I saw you went to see Wicked the other day.
Oh yes. Oh,
was that your first time seeing that?
It is. Yeah, it was.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I'd heard of it like so many times. I've like kind of listened to bits of the soundtrack, and like I was kind of familiar with the songs. But to be honest, whenever I'd listen to the soundtrack on its own, I'd be like, this isn't my kind of musical theater. Like, it's a bit more pop, and the compared to like what I usually listen to, I guess, when I'm thinking about musical theater stuff. But yeah, no, it worked so well in the context of everything. I think it's more of just the story is amazing, and I don't know, the character development, the just the attention to detail of the story of Wizard of Oz. It just blew my mind. Every time something just linked up and made sense, I was like, no freaking way. Like, and I don't know, whenever people said to me, oh, it's about the Wicked Witch of the West, but actually she's good. And I'm like, how can that be so? No, like this doesn't make any sense.
Elphaba was framed.
Yeah. I just, how could you want to kill the little dog? Like, she wants to kill the little dog. She's like evil in my eyes, and nothing can change that. But yeah, it turned out, a couple of songs, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I love her. She's great.
It's the we went to see it years ago in London, and Nigel Planer, Neil from the Young Ones, was playing the wizard.
Really?
And Adam Garcia, he was playing the love interest. I won't say too much in case people haven't seen it and they do want to see it. I don't want to spoil it because it's such a good show. But it's that moment where Elphaba sings Defying Gravity, and she goes up and the cape comes out all around her. I've gone cold thinking about it because it's so good. And that song. But that's another thing that we didn't realize we had in common till we were touring, was our love of Hair and Jesus Christ Superstar. Our rock operas. And Winding, I think it was Matthew, who's in Rights to Room with me now. We were coming back from gigs with them, and we were heading back down to Bristol with a van. And me and you were singing Hosanna, Hosanna in the front. Loudly. And both of us only knew half of the words.
Yeah.
But we're still there. Hosanna, Hosanna.
Oh, man. Oh, I kind of forgot about that. That's amazing.
I was singing Age of Aquarius, Full Blast as well. And all the rock operas. Loved it. It was great fun. It was wonderful. So, coming back around to Merciful Fate, I see in April you are at playing in Santiago in Chile.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Summer Breeze Brazil. Yes. Amazing. How excited are you? On a scale of 1 to ridiculous.
Pretty ridiculous. I'm like, I mean, when they sent me the message back in, I think, November or maybe October, saying that they needed a bass player for those 2 shows, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it, because when I did the first run, it was the opportunity of a lifetime, and it's like, okay, you have to do this right. Don't mess anything up. Make a good impression. Hopefully you'll get some work through, not necessarily, I wasn't necessarily thinking Merciful Fate, but I was thinking all of these crew work for other bands. The name is known by, the management know my name and they manage other bands, all this kind of stuff. But after the tour, I said goodbye to everyone. Very sad, like not knowing when or if I'd ever see them again. And then a year later, to have a message. No, a year later. Yes, it wasn't a year later. Like, knowing that just I was just like very happy that Joey was busy and that I could go to them again, just to do 2 more shows. And then, from then on, they thought, okay, well, there's the American shows that I did with them in 2022, then the Mexican shows, and then these other South American shows. That's kind of 3 little tours in a row that Joey has not been able to do. So I believe he only did the European leg of that tour in 2022. They didn't come back after like COVID and stuff before then. So he's done that bit and I've done these other bits, and they were thinking, well, we're going to start writing and recording a new album now. So we need a bass player who's going to be there at most of the shows, ideally. And because of Joey's involvement in Armored Saint, like he's one of the like key core members. He can't really prioritize Merciful Fate every time over Armored Saint. So, but I'm, the kind of place that I'm in with Fury, I'm not an original member or anything. I'm kind of in more of the kind of management-y kind of role. So I kind of look after a lot more things, which means that I can plan those things around Merciful Fate as much as possible. But we're also not like really big enough to, have too much of an issue if I have to, if worst comes to the worst, not do a gig, for example. Like if I think Merciful Fate aren't gigging, they say we're not gigging them, and then something gets offered and it's like really great, it's like, well, okay, I have to go and do that. So
I think as well, the relationship that you've got with JJ and the team at Fury, they know it's beneficial for them as well that you're doing this with Merciful Fate, because it raises the profile naturally of Fury, which is because people now will find you and then they'll see all your other stuff that you're doing with Fury, and it will raise their profile too. So I can see, I know JJ is absolutely over the moon for you anyway. He wouldn't be anything other than that. So he's being pragmatic about the whole thing.
Like
you could tell that.
Because like people are waiting for new music and from Merciful Fate, and maybe while they're at it they might check out what the other members are doing and stuff. And we're gonna have new music out to show them that. And I think it's, I don't know, the bands they're not really similar, I guess. Like they're not too similar, but they're not too dissimilar either. Like a lot of bands who like similar things. We're kind of on the softer side of heavy metal spectrum at the moment. But like I think it definitely works together, and there's some of the contacts that I can make and the fans that I can make on this journey with Merciful Fate is going to transfer over to some stuff for Fury. So we've got while I'm away in South America, Fury are playing Primordial General Mayhem, which is the radio show's big show. And that was actually offered after I'd already had I was already like, it was booked out in the calendar, like no gigs, Becky's in South America. But they offered this and they were still like, well, we want to do it. And I'm like, oh, if you want to do it, like if Luke is happy to come in depth, then like just go and do it. And so, it all works out.
They are not playing it unless Luke is depping. Foot is down. No. I'm talking of Fury as well. I know you're back in the studio writing the next album.
Yes.
So I know Tom Fenn has been in doing drums, and you're not too far from me for this recording. You're just down the road with the
Yes.
ever so lovely Todd Campbell at Stompbox. So it's another
Yeah.
person I need to get in touch with to see if he wants to come on this here podcast.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. You could.
Yeah, be cool
Yeah.
to talk to him. And as you didn't know, that in the very early days of Traxxas, we used to rehearse at Stompbox Studios. So
Yeah, I was, because I remember you mentioned that, and then I was kind of listening to Todd speak about it, and he was saying, yeah, oh, it used to be a rehearsal room, and then I took it over. But he was saying it was quite hard to keep running it as a rehearsal room because he was so busy. He was always away, and it made more sense to change it into a recording studio where he could just use it while he's there to record in it.
Makes
and
a lot more
otherwise
sense.
Use it to like store all the Phil Campbell's old
stuff.
old like Motorhead memorabilia and like cabs and just stuff. It was great to go in and be like, wow, look at all this stuff.
Open the doors and there's a cutout of Lemmy with lights behind it. Ah,
yeah,
so you're excited to go in.
Everything but that, basically. That was what they needed.
That's what they need next.
But
never mind Bloodstock. Never mind Bloodstock getting Lemmy's ashes. We knew that's what we need.
Yes, get it to Stompbox. Give a little sprinkle to them.
Touch. Oh, amazing. So, how long roughly do you think recording is going to take now for the new album? And do you have any set idea of roughly when in the year or next year this one's going to come out?
I'm hoping that we're going to get the recording all done in the spring, maybe the start of the summer. So I think the guitars are going to be happening in like a couple of weeks. I'm going to do some demo bass, and then I'm going to do the final bass in like late April. No, probably in May, and then probably vocals in May. Should be all done hopefully about the end of May. And we're going to think about putting some singles out. So there'll definitely be some new music this year, but I don't know if the full album is going to come out this year. We really want to be a bit smarter and safer. I don't know, like the last two albums, we've been really just keen to get it out there because we're like really excited about the songs, and we're just like, okay, yeah, let's do a single, let's put it out, and like, yeah, to see what happens, because it was such a new lineup and the sound had kind of changed. We'd kind of changed tack in the way that like the first two Fury albums before I joined, like they I think they had like one music video, they and everything was more DIY than it is now. Like it's still DIY, but everything's kind of taken up a level in terms of like the marketing and like what we try and do when we're releasing stuff. So, you know, we took that step up, and then when it came to the next album, we had gigs booked and we really wanted to hit the ground running as soon as we came back after lockdown. So we kind of rushed that album out as well. And I feel like we probably shouldn't have. So it was ready, but we didn't have time to shop around for getting really good PR in place and, you know, maybe speaking to labels about helping with that distribution. So yeah, I've ended up with like another album that's completely independent, which is great in some ways. Some ways it's very cool, but when you've got just piles and piles of CDs in every nook and cranny of your house, which I'm sure you understand, it's like, oh god, we're thinking about having an extra 1,000 CDs in stock.
I know.
Extra 300 vinyl, the t-shirts for the next run of dates. I'm like, oh god, I wish it didn't have to do this yet. And all
I know, I'm still trying to sell everything.
Yeah, oh god. Yeah, like the post office guy, he's just, I don't know, he's kind of my bestie now. And I see him a lot. And yeah, but the thing is just, you know, the problem with your international postage is like really difficult now, especially since Brexit. And people, like in this day and age, people expect things immediately. They order something and they think everything's like Amazon, like it's going to arrive the next day. And it's like, no, you're in America and I have to post it from the UK. Like there may be customs you have to pay on top. There may be delays, because it's going a long way, dude, and I'm just one person, or maybe I'm on tour when you place the order. So when you ask the next week, where's my thing, I'm like, well, it's in the back of the van, dude. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. You're gonna have to wait. You have to plan ahead. If you've got any like birthdays and Christmas presents that you're trying to buy for, like,
we need at least a 4-week run-in.
So we really want to shop this next album around and like get things in place like well. And I think we're probably better placed to do that now, better than we ever have been before, because of course, I've got more contacts now, and we've got like the momentum is there a lot more than it was when we were doing, for example, at the grand prize and stuff. Like, we've done so many more gigs, and the profile has just generally been raised. So it's I mean, I'm looking forward to the next album cycle.
Me too. I saw your unboxing of the Born to Sin vinyl.
Oh yes.
Oh, that's hot.
I kind of I knew they were going to look good, but I kind of
they look so good
about some of the little things that had been, I don't know, like the what they called the disc inserts. Yes, I forgot that I'd made them. I ordered black ones, and I was like,
black ones.
That looks good.
And then when you pull the disc out, and as you say, every disc is slightly different because the patination of the splatter on it will be different. So there was one you showed that was much darker, and another one that was very red, and it's just, they just look so good. And then with the pentagram in the middle as well. Stunning.
Everything really came together well, because I mean, when I was looking, I was just trying to make a graphic, just being like, this is the forthcoming vinyl, blah blah blah, it's splatter red and black, and I was looking at the vast variety of red and black splatter vinyls. Like, there's a lot of different kinds of effects and ways you can arrange the blobs of color to make a different effect. And I was like, I have no idea what it's going to look like. I hope people aren't pissed off when it doesn't look like the picture, but it does look very similar to the picture, and they all slightly different, but they all look great. I think it's really fascinating watching the videos of them getting the kind of stuff, the plasticine or whatever it is, in a ball, and then like they put those other colors in, and then they make it into a vinyl, and you're like, oh that's how you do that. That's really fascinating.
I don't know what it is, but I don't know if you have a similar thing. I have found some of these "this is how we make things" videos, some of the most palate cleansing and fascinating things I've ever watched. I'm showing my age, kids. I just sit there randomly going, oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's what you did that day. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Oh, look at the effect on that. That's my doom scrolling these days. I'm so old.
Well, if it brings you joy, then
Marie Kondo the shit out of your life. That is going to be our takeaway message, I think, is Marie Kondo the shit out of your life. Does it spark joy? No, throw it in the fuck it bucket. Right. Good God, we are coming up to an hour, so I should let you go, as you have been teaching today as well. Thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure. And I'd love to have you back on when you come back from Chile and Brazil in the
that'd be nice.
At the end of April, because it'd be really good to catch up and do a follow-up.
Yes. Speak about it while it's all fresh in my mind, and that'd be great.
Awesome. So yes, thank you once again. Always lovely to see you, and hopefully I'll speak to you before you poodle off to South America.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely chatting and catching up.
The only thing left to ask is, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Go to my website, beckybaldwinbass.com, and you will find links to all my social medias, including Facebook, Instagram, Patreon. I have a Patreon, very important, and YouTube and stuff like that. You'll find links to Fury. If you want to listen to Fury, if you search for Fury, Born to Sin. So our latest album is called Born to Sin. There's loads of bands called Fury. It was a bad idea to take such a generic name because it's so hard to find us sometimes. Oh, no, it's not the movie. Oh, no, it's not like Tyson Fury. You know, we get emails like weekly, like several a week saying, hi, Tyson, blah, 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 blah. Will you sign my
Seriously?
something? And so we're like, we're a band. The URL that you've emailed says Fury Official Band. Why do you think we're Tyson Fury? Anyway, but yeah. So yeah, but more importantly, BeckyBaldwinBass.com, and you'll find I'm called Becky Baldwin Bass on everything. So yeah, you'll find me. Cool.
Well, thank you very much, and I will speak to you very soon.
Okay, thank you.
Mwah. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Otter Chaos podcast. We will be back with another episode next month. In the meantime, if you'd be so kind as to like, subscribe, or follow us on any of our socials, please do so. And as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Much love.